Chapter 16. When I woke up one morning, the sky was just starting to lighten and the world was completely different. A heavy white layer of snow, do your business, thicker than a dog bed, lay on the ground. Wet flakes poured from the sky with a faint, muffled roar. Most of the smells that used to fill my nose had vanished, wiped out by the snow, do your business, which smelled of clean, clear water and little else. Without all those scents to distract me, I could feel the pull of go home more powerfully than ever. Big Kitten was not sleeping beside me. She'd gone during the night, as she often did. I got up and shook myself. Wet drops flew from my fur. When I stepped out into the snow, do your business, my paws sank. I lifted my nose, and I could smell Big Kitten coming closer. Soon she trotted out from between two trees with something gray and furry, something like a big squirrel, in her mouth. The snow, do your business did not seem to bother Big Kitten when it came to walking. Her paws barely seemed to sink into it. She walked gracefully, picking up a front foot and then putting her back foot right into the hole that the front foot had left. She came to me and dropped the squirrel at my feet, and we fed. Then she sniffed me and rubbed her head on me the way cats do. I was eating many different things now that I was taking care of Big Kitten. Tiny piece of cheese seemed so far, far away now. It felt so good to have food in my stomach and my pack with me that I shook myself all over and bounded away through the snow. With each leap, I sank in deeply. Flakes flew as I heaved myself out and jumped again. A wind was picking up so that the flakes twinkled in the air. It was hard work, but it was fun. I barked at Big Kitten. Wasn't she going to play with me? We'd been working so hard at Go Home for so long, it was time for a little bit of fun. I galloped downhill and onto a flat stretch where the snow, do your business, had been swept away by the wind. My paws went skidding out from under me as if each was trying to run in a different direction. Ice! Big Kitten picked her way down the hill after me. She touched one paw delicately to the ice and drew it back. Then she sat down and looked at me as if she did not understand that it was playtime. I skidded and scrambled on the ice, getting myself turned around. Then I braced myself, gripping with my claws, and launched myself across the ice toward Big Kitten. She was startled. She drew herself up, making herself tall. I tried to stop and play bow in front of her so that she'd see how much fun snow, do your business could be, but I could not stop. Big Kitten tried to leap out of the way, but it was too late. I plowed into her, and we both tumbled across the ice. At last we were playing. Big Kitten snarled and showed me her teeth. I did a play growl back at her. She rolled away and righted herself, shooting her claws out to grip the ice, and tried to run. She fell flat on her belly. I pounced on her, wrestling. Big Kitten was so big that I could not wrestle with her for long. She rolled over again and flung me off. Then she struggled to her feet and did her best to run. I chased her. Yes, playtime at last. But when we got off the ice and into the deeper snow, I had to give up chase me because Big Kitten was so much faster. I sank into the snow, do your business, with every leap, while she stayed more or less on top. We found a spot at the roots of a tall tree and slept some more. We slept the whole day, in fact, lying curled up together, sharing each other's warmth, while more snow, do your business, came down. I began to get restless. Now that I could feel the sense of go home so strongly, I wanted to move toward it. But I could not travel with all this white stuff pouring from the sky. When we woke up in the morning, it was time to get back to work. Go home was hard work, even harder than before. To make a way forward, I had to break a path with my forelegs. Yesterday, the snow, do your business, had been fun. Today, it was trying to slow me down, to keep me apart from my boy. I missed Lucas. I ached to be with him, to feel his hand on my fur, to be called Bella again. Big Kitten was my pack now, but a pack was not a person. When I was with Big Kitten, I had no name. I wanted a name. I wanted a tiny piece of cheese. I needed my person so powerfully it was hard to sleep, but it felt impossible to get to him. In the next few days, I struggled to move forward, but the snow do your business kept trying to hold me back. Where I struggled, Big Kitten walked easily. It seemed as if the snow had reversed all the rules of our pack. She decided where to go, and I had no choice but to follow her. The ground we were traveling grew steeper by the day. Downhill, I could sometimes smell people and machines, smoke and food. Uphill was only the pure wild smell of rock and ice. Big Kitten always chose up. I always went with her. The snow do your business that made the going so hard for me somehow seemed to make hunting easier for Big Kitten. In the nighttime, she often came back with some kind of food to share with me, a mouse, a rabbit, or a squirrel. Was she finding a human to feed her? I couldn't smell any people anywhere nearby. One morning, I smelled something familiar, but it was not a person. It was us. Big Kitten and I had wandered in a large circle, and we'd crossed over our own trail. We were not getting any closer to Lucas at all. Frustrated, I plunged away from my own footsteps and charged out into the unbroken whiteness. Then I froze at the barest suggestion of a scent on the cold air. Dog. A dog. It had been so long since I had seen another dog. I turned toward the scent, even though it meant walking uphill. I played with Big Kitten every day, but right now I longed to wrestle with a dog. As I trudged upward, I picked up a new odor. Humans. I hesitated. To see the dog I could smell, I would have to get near a human. They were together, somewhere on the mountain above me. 2 other humans were off to the side. They did not seem to have dogs with them. Humans often had food, like ham. But even the nice ones did not seem to understand that I was doing go home. I walked forward and paused and went forward again. I wanted to find this new dog. I wanted to see the people, and I also wanted to stay away from them. It was hard to know what to do. I pushed my way between 2 trees and saw whiteness. No trees, no rocks, just a long, steep slope like a white wall reaching up toward the sky. Way, way up there, a man and a dog were trudging through heavy snowfall. Above them, the wall of white continued up, ending in a ridge with sky above it. A thick layer of snow do your business sat heavily on the top of the ridge, curling over its edge. The man was wearing very long shoes and clutched poles in his hand. I could smell that the dog was a male. I did not know why anyone would take their dog on a walk so high up a hill, but I knew the dog was happy to be with his person. I could tell by the joyful leaps he was making through the fluffy whiteness. "Stop! Hey!" a voice shouted. Startled, I looked around. Across the long stretch of whiteness, I could now see the 2 other men I had smelled earlier. They were so far away that they seemed very small. They had their hands up by their mouths. "Get out of there!" one shouted. "That's not safe!" the other one added. "Avalanche zone!" These 2 men sounded scared and angry. I retreated a few steps into the trees. The man high up on the hill kept walking, but his dog looked down at the noise. Then he stared in my direction, and I knew that he had picked up my scent. "Get out of there!" both men without dogs screamed at once. The dog barked and lunged a few steps downhill toward me. He wanted to play. I shoved my way out of the trees and through the thick snow do your business in his direction, excitedly wagging my tail. "Dutch!" the man with the dog shouted. "Get back here!" The dog glanced back at his person, but kept on bounding down the hill toward me. The man lifted one of those strange big flat shoes. He stamped, trying to get his dog's attention. "Look out!" one of the other men shouted. There was an odd, low noise. The curl of snow atop the ridge crumbled to bits and fell. The man in the big shoes jerked his head around to stare as a rumble, loud as a truck, shook the air. The ground slid beneath him and he fell tumbling. The sliding ground caught the man and the dog and knocked them over. They were both floundering as they plummeted toward me, moving faster than I'd ever seen anything move, even Big Kitten. I needed to get away. I turned and dashed for the trees, plunging in huge leaps. The booming sound above me grew louder and louder. Then something slammed into me, tossing me into the air. I lost all sense of up and down. I was rolling and falling. I could see nothing, and my paws could not find the ground. I had just one thought as something soft but heavy slammed into my head. Lucas.